important mindset that that will help us in the exam. Okay, I'm going to talk about a lot of points today. So my suggestion would be use this video as something which would help you in revision at the last moment also. Okay, not only to look at the last moment, but it will help you at the last moment definitely. So use the PDF just like agile concepts we saw and the other parts we saw. Use this video as a quick revision tool, okay, of whatever you have already studied. All right. So let's start. So first thing first, initiating a project. Okay. So whenever we initiate a project, okay, during creation of the project charter, only high level information are captured. Okay, we don't have information, we are just initiating a project. Okay, we are saying that yes, now this construction building or this application needs to be started, this project needs to be started. At that point of time, you only have top management from customer, top management from your side, and you as a project manager, potential project manager at that point of time until you are authorized. So at that point, you will only have high level information, which means at a broader level, you would know what the project is. You will only have a summary level information of the project. You have not started planning, you don't have team, you have not created budget, you don't know about the risks that would happen in the project. So because don't have all those details, hence any word, okay, any question that is talking about project charter or initiating, or it is saying that you are about to initiate a project, you are in the discussion of initiation of project, which would tell you that the project has not yet got initiated, you are in the process of that. At that point of time, any word like detail, subjective, comprehensive, comprehensive analysis, comprehensive risk analysis, detailing the scope, building a WBS, all those things will not be done because they are all done at the planning stage. Okay, so any word that suggests anything in detail, okay, would typically be a wrong thing to do in initiating. Okay, it might look logical, but always look at what you are doing. Okay, see, in project charter, we do understand risk, we do understand assumptions, but we don't go to detail. Whatever is known to us, we just note it down, try to figure out few things at a higher level, and that's it. Okay, we don't go to detail. That is first point. Second, formal initiation. Okay, bringing people together, discussing in a meeting, calling them everyone together, and actually signing off one document called project charter is very, very important. Okay, because it helps provide clarity to all the stakeholders, and it reduces issues later that would happen in the project. Okay, so by all means have a formal initiation. Now in agile also, we have this formal initiation. You may not create a project charter. Okay, and many of us have not even seen a project charter in our real life, and it is very much possible, right? But what we do, we use contracts that we have received from the customer, the purchase order we might have received from the customer. Okay, we use this as a project charter because it has some information, although it is not a formal project charter with project manager's authority mentioned there, everybody signing it off, but it will definitely talk about SOW. So sometimes we just start with the SOW. It happens in the project, but having a formal meeting is always helpful, so that every team member, whoever is currently a part of the team, whichever you know, any pre-assigned resources, any team member that has been assigned to us in the project, our sponsor, our management, customers management, any supplier that we know that definitely will be a part of it, they should all be present in this initiation meeting, because this will provide clarity, and it's an important part. There should always be a formal initiation meeting done to understand what the project is. Then whenever you join a project in between, okay, there will be many scenarios in the exam where you join the project in between. You have joined a new project, you have joined a new organization, or a project manager has joined a new organization. This is what you will see in the exam. Okay, the first thing that you do is check your project charter. Right, see, whenever you join a project, the first thing you want to know is what this project is about. Okay, before talking to anyone, before discussing with anyone, before trying to change the plans, before trying to change anything that is very obvious mistake. Okay, so this would also happen in the projects. You will see that some obvious mistake has happened. Okay. And you have joined the project, you saw that plans are not available, documents are not available. Okay. Still, okay, one of the option would say that you try to understand the project charter, you try to understand the project objective. That is always better. First, try to understand the objective, understand the project charter, what it says, and then do something else. Okay, so whenever you join a project, first thing that you do is to go through a project charter. Now, if project charter is not mentioned, project objective, product vision, something of that sort, which gives you a clarity of why we are doing things. Okay, so understanding the why is the first thing that you will do whenever you join a project, whether you are joining in between or at the beginning. Okay, first you will understand why we are doing the project. That will give you a lot of clarity. You will be able to suggest many things also if you understand the why. Right? That was the part of initiating. Then in terms of planning, every activity that happens on a project is planned. Okay, now very important, doesn't have to be a planned document. Okay, in Agile, we plan a lot of things verbally and then we start. But it is always planned. You always plan and do it. Okay, if anything extra is to be done, first the plan will be changed with necessary approvals, then the work will be carried out. Pretty simple. Whatever we do, execution is nothing but following the plan. Okay, so whatever we do, we will follow the plan. Then involve team members and stakeholders in planning. Whenever you are planning and you see an option that says collaborate with stakeholders, discuss with the team while planning, first it gives clarity to everybody involved in planning. Okay, see, you telling someone something, they will be able to remember it for some time. But you involving them in actually creating that, they will remember it for long. Okay, so involve team members and stakeholders in planning for clarity and better suggestions. Okay, because they are also experts. Stakeholders would know something, team members would know something. Everybody knows something more than anybody else, right? Little bit. You want those suggestions also in the team. Okay, so it will always better to involve team members and stakeholders into the planning. Okay, it doesn't have to have a discussion with the customer when you are discussing about your margin and profit, but these are your general understanding. Okay, so wherever you think that they will help, always involve them. Then when you create a plan, you create a plan for regular flow of work, the changes and the mistakes as well. So you should have a plan of what would happen when you want to go from A to B, how you will go. What would happen if there is an obstacle? What would happen if you have to change the route? What would happen if there's a mistake in the between? Okay, so there should be a plan for all those things as well. Plan for regular work, plan for changes, and plan for any mistakes. Which means if the mistake happen, what will you do? You might not be able to understand exactly what mistake would happen, but there should be some guidance, some plan on what should be done when the mistakes and changes arise in the project, not just the regular flow of work. Then always create realistic estimates. Okay, it builds trust. Padding and buffer, which is randomly adding something, some reserve, not, I will not call it reserve, but randomly adding some value to your estimate is a big no. What does this mean? That if your estimate says 7 days, in 7 days your supplier would provide the material, and you are randomly adding 3 days. This is wrong. What you should do is you discuss with the supplier, understand their concern. Why would they take more time? Is there a reason for you to think, and how much time will that be? And then add that time as a part of your estimation and analysis. Okay, not randomly, because it doesn't help. See, you don't know that, right? You have taken 7 days and you think the supplier might delay the material, hence you took 3 days extra. But you don't know whether they will be able to deliver in 3 days also. What if they take 5 days? What if they take 7 more days? Right? Hence, randomly adding a number is a big no. Never do that. Never inflate your estimation. Always keep your realistic estimate, because when you keep realistic estimates and the actual work is done around that estimate, people trust you. Okay, but if you say 14 days and you do the work in 7 days itself, then people will not trust you. Next time when you give a realistic estimate of 7 days also, they will say, okay, do it in 3 days. right? So never inflate your estimation, always provide your realistic estimates, always. Define quality requirements early in the project. Okay, just like all the requirements that we do, define early in the project and keep checking regularly to ensure that those requirements are met. Okay, as early as possible, understand the requirements and keep checking regularly throughout the project. Never change the plans without approved change request. Okay, we have had a discussion on this last weekend itself. Okay, so whenever we are changing a plan, it should be done with a approved change request. Then when we come to execution, okay, understand that gold plating, okay, which is adding additional feature or providing higher quality than is required, is not a wise choice. Okay, you might be thinking that you are helping the customer, but it is not like that. Okay, you are required to do something A, you are taking out time from A and then doing B. Without the plan, without the approval, no. So we just saw any change, right? This is also a change. Adding any additional feature is a change. It must go through approvals and then only you add that. Okay. If the team thinks that it will be helpful, if you think it will be helpful, take approval and do it. Change the plan and do it. Okay. Don't do it just because you think that it is helpful or just because you made a mistake in something else. You are trying to compensate for that. Okay. Those are not a good reason for adding anything additional. Knowledge transfer, whenever we do executing, we generate a lot of data. Okay. So as a project manager, you should ensure that whatever data is getting generated is shared with whoever needs to have that knowledge in the project. Okay. So use multiple ways to share this. Explicit knowledge, which can be actually recorded and transmitted and shared, videos, PDFs, and other things should be done, and tacit knowledge, which is not very easy to record and share, like your experience, like your belief, like your intuition. Okay, for that you should have team building meetings, discussions, collaborations, discussions, meetings also help in knowledge transfer. Then when everything is going right in the project, okay, you may still need to talk to the team. Okay, there would be a question which would say that you are doing a risk analysis. Let's say, for example, you have identified the risk, you have noted it down in the register, you have planned the response, and everything is ready. Now, when the risk is about, or that event is about to happen, that is risky, what should you do as a project manager? You will not wait, okay, that the team would do something. You will actually go and talk to the team and ensure that they are prepared to influence them for taking action. You don't direct them, but do keep checking whether they are prepared, they will be taking action, they're aware that this event is about to happen, there would be some preparation that they need to do, there would be some response that they have to implement. So are they ready or not? Okay, so as a project manager, you are proactive in understanding these things and influencing your team to take action. Execution means following what was planned. Okay, we saw this in plan and we are seeing this in execution because it is important. If it was not planned, it must not be executed. Gold plating, anything extra is not to be done in execution, right? And planning does not mean planned document. Okay, you don't have to actually create a document and then only say that, okay, I'll be executing, because we talk about agile projects also. You don't create documents there. You just discuss, there is an agreement, and you start doing it. But whenever you do something, plan for it. Okay, in agile, come together the team, discuss, decide, and then do it. In traditional, create a plan, add it to the document, share it with for necessary approvals, and then carry it out. Okay, never do anything which was not planned. Okay, so you need to identify these things in the exam, and if you see that there is an execution done without the plan, that would typically be a wrong option. Okay, now I'm going through this point by point. If you don't understand any point or you want to discuss about any point, please stop me there. Okay, and let's discuss. Help the team do their work. Okay, so when the team is doing the work, help them. Don't leave them alone. But be cautious with some words in the question, like direct, command, control, tell. See, these are the things which is done by managers which is not wrong as such. But when we talk about project manager, especially for PMP, we talk about leadership related words. Okay, so help, support, guide, coach, these are better words. Again, this is not a rule, but these are generally better words. Okay, direct command, you don't want to force anything on anyone, right? You don't want to enforce something on your team. You let them decide, you let them do it. Okay, so your job is to tell them that there are three choices, A, B, and C, and then tell them what are the advantages and disadvantages. Let them decide what is best for the project. Help them decide. Okay, just like the PMP training that we do, right? PMBOK, PMI, Adjust, Me, we all continuously talk about the best practices that can be done. Doesn't have to necessarily be done. Right? We don't tell you what is to be done, or anybody does not tell you what is to be done. We tell you these are the best things to do. Okay, this because of these advantages and these are the disadvantages. And then you decide. Okay, that's what you do also with your team members. Let them decide, but not let them decide, help them decide. Okay, so whenever a decision is to be taken, a planning is to be done, a problem is to be solved, a work is to be completed, you don't direct, command, control, or tell. You help, support, guide, and coach. Okay, so these will typically be wrong. Does not mean that you see this word and eliminate it. Okay, don't do that. Don't use these as rules. Don't use these as formulae. Okay, but be a little bit cautious. Okay, in order, let's say, for example, you are stuck between two options. One option is using direct, another option is using help. You are running out of time, you don't have time to compare, then by all means go with this. Okay, so this will help you quickly move ahead. Okay, because anyways you are running out of time, there is chance that it might get a mistake. So these things will help you. Okay, but don't make it a rule, don't make it a formula that every time I see direct, I will eliminate that. But that would be a wrong approach. We have to compare all the options that we see, then take decisions. But these mindset, these guidelines will help you in thinking about it. When you take decisions, okay, consult with project team before making decisions. Don't make decisions alone. Okay, as a project manager, you are only one person. As a team, even if you are doing agile, there are 6 members. Okay, in traditional, there will be more than 10, 15, 20 members in your project management team itself. Okay, involve them. They all know something. They are experts in project management, they're experts in development, they're experts in testing, they know their product well. Okay, you alone would take a lot of time to arrive at a good decision. Okay, they will take less time and arrive at a much better decision. Okay, so always involve project team for planning, for making decisions. Definitely they will always have practical approach to solve problems. See, you can involve experts. Experts will give you theoretical, right? Expert would say that something worked in previous project and something worked in previous some other country, so it can work here also. So they will give you theoretical advice, right? Because they don't know what is happening in the project, they don't know the product, what is happening in the project, but team knows it, you know it. Okay, so get involved and try to figure out the solution. You will arrive at practical approach, they will provide theoretical solution. It's not bad to involve experts, but if there is an option to involve team members and within them solve it, this would be a better option. Take decisions for the benefit of project always. Right? Whenever you are taking decisions, whenever you are deciding something, see that it is beneficial for the project and you are not choosing it for anyone's benefit. Okay, you are not getting emotional and choosing it for somebody else's benefit. Always select for the benefit of the project. Right? Whatever decision you take, it should benefit the project. Benefit the project means either it should help in closing project early, reducing the cost, improving the quality, reducing the risk, something, okay, which is for the benefit of the project, and then only you choose that decision. When you collaborate, okay, to make decisions, ensure that you are using inclusive tool. Inclusive tool means where people are involved in using that, right? Like a whiteboard with a marker, like sticky notes, right? Those things will help people move around, discuss, do the hand gesture, move around here and there, let the blood circulate, and they'll give you a better decisions. Okay, so the idea is low tech and high touch, as we had seen. Less complex technology, more touch and feel. The more you do that, the better collaboration will happen. Always make an informed decision. Okay, so the decision that you are taking in the question, for that information should be available in the question itself. Because information in the question must justify the action that you are taking. Always look for that. Always check. You are reducing the impact. You are firing someone. You are hiring someone. You are making some changes to the plan. You are making some changes to the processes, policies, anything. Okay. Always see that it is justified. If you are taking an action, it should be justified. Otherwise, analysis, understanding those things, evaluation are always better. Okay. But if you have to take action, it should be justified. Without which you should not. Because see, what happens is every time you take an action, okay, you would be spending some time, some effort, some money. Okay. So when you are about to spend some money, you should always see that it is justified. It is the best decision that you are taking. Otherwise, the money and time will go wasted and project will suffer. That is the reason why we always look for justification. Now, when we talk about problem solving, understand the problem first. There's a concern from stakeholder, concern from team member, sponsor, supplier, anyone. Okay. First choice, any choice that says you are understanding the problem is always much, much better. Okay. Then analyze for the problem. First, understand the problem well. A well understood problem is half solved. Okay. So first understand the problem well. Then analyze. What could be the reason of the problem? Okay. Then discuss and collaborate for potential solution. Okay. Here you are trying to understand why the problem happened. Okay. And then you are discussing together, you brought the team together and trying to figure out what could be the potential solutions. Understand and compare the impact of these solutions and then take action. See, this is the reason why you would have already seen, because all of you have solved a lot of questions. This is the reason why you always see that taking action is generally the last thing that you do. Understand, analyze, evaluate, collaborate, discuss, facilitate. These are always better. Why? Because this is how the step of problem solving is. If you have not understood the problem, your analysis will be wrong. If your analysis is wrong, what will you discuss in the solution? You will not be able to find a good solution. Right? If you have not found a good solution, how will you compare the impact? Whatever comparison you do, you are doing with a bad solution. So the action that you will take will also be bad. Right? Hence, all these things are very, very important. So this flow is very important for your exam. Understand this. Multiple questions will be there based on this. Any knowledge area, any agile, traditional, anything it could be. If you are solving any problem, this is the approach.
Amit, one question on this approach, the understand problem first. So most of the time after understanding, there is an option of change request. So before analysis and after understanding, if there is an option of change request, I think we opt for that because you need to have a record after which you invest time in analysis.
Yeah, because that is a part of your process.
Situational.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right. If you see that there is change required to be done, okay, then you will have to change the request. But sometimes when you are doing a problem solving, okay, there is just a problem which you have to solve. If you have not analyzed and you don't know whether the changes will be required or not, okay, then change request will not be there. It will be issue log.
Like right? Issue log or fishbone analysis, which is to identify the root cause.
Correct. But first you will create an issue log. So what you are saying is absolutely correct, that once you have understood something, you should have some documentation done.
Some record to be working on that.
On which you start working, on which you start spending time. So if that is there in the option, it is preferable option. Okay. But for problem solving, this is the approach. And what you're saying is absolutely correct. If you see some documentation being done, okay, and which is required for you to spend time, because for everybody else also, okay. See, the reason we are discussing this is that when you start analyzing for the reason, when you start discussing, you're again spending some time, right? Out of your plan, because problem was unanticipated. You could not anticipate the problem. This is a new problem. You are spending some time out of your plan. So there should be some reference of what you are working on, so that if somebody asks you, what are you working on? You will be able to tell them, okay, that I am working on this issue log. or I am working on this change request. Okay? Which is always better. So it is always better to have some documentation done and then spend time. And so your understanding of in the question would be that whatever you are doing, if it is taking a lot of time, then before that you should have some reference on which you're working. Then for problem solving, help the team arrive at a solution. See, as you can see, while I was discussing about planning, I said help the team in planning. When we said execution, we said help the team in execution. Now we are saying help the team in arriving at a solution. Very, very important part. Okay. See, they would say you are managing an agile project. What will you do? Okay. And one of the thing would be that have the team do it or let the team do it. Okay. Those things compared to help the team is always better because you are also involved. You have not left your team alone in figuring out the solution. You are helping them with improving their problem solving skills. So always help the team arrive at a solution. Okay. Even when the question says that you are the expert in the field, you know everything in the problem, still you don't give them the solution because that solves the temporary problem. It does not improve the team members' problem solving skills. When next time they face the problem, they will again be coming to you. All right. Hence, you don't give the solution.
Hi, Amit. When do you reach out to, say, specific departments? Say, for example, there is an issue, and then you need to involve a legal team or a finance team.
See, any time when you see that in a question, some information, okay, would tell you that team has done something, which means they have tried, okay, or project manager has tried. You've discussed. They would say you have discussed with the problem but could not find the solution, or you have tried for the solution but could not find the solution, or you have had a discussion but still not able to resolve it. Something of that sense would always be there for you to involve any third party. Okay, as we discussed earlier, or let us discuss again also. In the question, there will always be two parties under discussion. Okay, mostly. Okay, it could be team or project manager. It could be stakeholder or project manager. It could be stakeholder or team. Okay, there will always be two party involved. As a project manager, when you want to involve the third party, okay, you need to have some information in the question that says that they have tried everything. Okay, it will not be exactly as blunt, as straightforward as this, but it will tell you something that team has done this, team had a discussion, team had a meeting, and then they came to project manager. Okay, then it says that okay, team had a meeting, they have done their part of job, and now they could not solve it, and hence they are going to project manager. Okay, so it will always be that. Whenever you are looking for informing functional manager, resource manager, project sponsor, think of it as an escalation. Okay, an escalation should always happen after you have tried everything.
Okay, yeah. So it's not a first option. So it's after you trying everything else.
Yes, it is generally not a first option. And I think mostly not a first option. You can very well say that never a first option. Because why would I involve anybody else's time? Right? See, team is having a conflict with the stakeholder. Okay, team, automatically I get involved, right? Project manager. Okay, there's no question about that. But team is having a discussion with stakeholder, conflict with stakeholder. Why would I involve HR, functional manager, project sponsor for all those things? Because they have their own work. They are doing it. And my responsibility is to ensure this. So if I have tried everything and still I'm not successful, then I would go to third party. Yes, Richa, you raised hands.
Yes, Amit. So in the same breath, arriving at solution internally, if there is something I understand, but we saw a question yesterday on group by JJ where he said that everything is going well, scope is well defined, and government introduces a finance tax reform, which needs to be incorporated. Now here, two answers, options are there. Reach out to the finance team for consultation, advice, or assess the impact of this tax transformation or reformation on your project. Between these two, which is a better answer? And I don't know the correct answer. So
Okay. So you are saying that there was already a plan, and now there is some change to it. Okay, which is related to something specific. It could be finance, it could be legal, it could be quality related. Okay, something very specific which has changed. As a project manager, I might or might not have that information.
Mhm.
Okay, so first I would try to go to the finance team and understand that. Okay, then only you will be able to do some analysis.
Assess the potential. Okay.
Yeah. So first would be to discuss with friends. I have asked Gigi to share the questions. Okay. So I have
Yeah.
questions now. I'll be sending
Okay.
the details explanation for all those questions. Okay. So I'll be sharing
Wonderful.
those. But this is the idea. Okay. That if it is something specific, if they've mentioned that finance, legal, safety, quality, these are something specific, right? Absolutely. And project manager, as a project manager, we are expert in leadership. We are experts in management. So when those changes happen, especially related to regulation, legal, and this, we will first discuss with the expert, understand it better, then only we will be able to carry out the impact analysis.
Makes sense. Thanks, Amit.
Okay, I can see chat box. Mr. Desugi, a justification. Okay, see, a justification that I talk about is an information that should be there in the question, which demands that action. Okay, so if you are taking an action to, let's say, for example, fire someone from the project, okay, then there should be an information in the question saying that you had a discussion with them, still they are repetitively making that mistake, and then you will be taking action. Okay, if that information is not available, you cannot take this action. So the justification for taking this action is available in the question. Anything that you do, okay, change the plan, add the scope, everything demands some time and some effort and some money. So whenever you need some money, whenever you need some time, okay, there should be some information before you can take that decision. Okay, think about your project. Okay, whenever you have to do something apart from the plan, and it is, you know that it is going to take some time, it is going to take some money, then you should have that justification, because your approving authority will ask for that justification. Okay, so for you to take an action, there must be an information suggesting that this action can be taken. Okay, and most of the time we take it because we want to have that benefit in the project. There is some problem that is being discussed here. This action will reduce the impact of that problem. Is it clear?
Amit, one more question, if it's clear. Yeah. Amit, one more question. So I just need a clarification on that termination point, where due to government, some court order is there. And so
We'll come to it. We'll come to closer and then let's discuss that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we are at the problem solving, help a team arrive at a solution. Then select that action which has least negative impact. Okay, I was just discussing, whenever you take an action, okay, it will impact your cost, it will impact your quality, it could impact the resources, it could impact the risks, it could impact the timelines, it will impact something, definitely. You have to choose that action which has the least negative impact in your project, which is affecting your project least in terms of negative impact. Just creating a document doesn't ensure resolution of problem. So if you see the question in the exam which talks about ensuring resolution, okay, and they're not asking you what to do first, they're saying what will you do to ensure resolution. Creating a document does not ensure resolution. Creating a plan does not ensure execution, right? Having a policy, having a plan does not ensure anything. Actually doing the work does, right? So taking action will ensure that the problem is resolved, not updating or creating a document. Okay, so we have discussed this. Third person's involvement should be considered as escalation. It must be justified, which means if the team member is not performing well, the team is the first party, project manager is the second party, anybody else, HR, sponsor, functional manager, these are all third party, right? Their involvement will take some time out from their plan. So you should ensure that you have done everything before you seek their intervention. Right? That was the idea of problem solving. Then for risk management, identify as much risk as early as possible. Okay, so risks, as much you do, comprehensive risk identification, comprehensive risk analysis should be done as early as possible in the project, so that you understand what all things can go wrong in the project. Negative risks are known as threat. Positive risks are known as opportunity. There will be questions in the exam on both these type of risks and their responses. Okay, so for every risk, we have our responses like avoid, mitigate, exploit, enhance, all those things, right? Remember that. Okay, understand when it is used, when avoid is used, when mitigate is used, when this is used. Okay, general understanding. You don't have to necessarily take it case to case basis, but if you understand it generally, you will be able to take good decisions. Right? So this will definitely be there as a part of question in the exam. Know these risk responses well, when to take which response. Then very important part in the exam. Okay, they might not give you the option of saying that add into the risk register, add into issue log. Okay, you have to understand the difference between risk and issue. There could be one question where these two options are there. So it is very clear that you have to identify risk versus issue. But many a times they will explain this. Okay, that okay, I prepare a response plan for the risk, or bring the team for issue resolution. If it is not an issue, why will you bring team for issue resolution? If it is not a risk, why will you bring team for risk response plan? So they will say collaborate, facilitate, all those things, and you might think that that could be a correct option. But always look at identifying between risk and issue. Risk is probability. It might or might not happen. Issue is certain, it has already happened. If something has gone wrong, it has already gone wrong. Okay, risk is a probability, always. It might or might not happen. Okay, so and it will be very clear in the question itself. Look for that. Look for options like may, might. Okay, these things say that it is a risk. Will is certain. It will impact, you know that it will impact. You have to create a response around it. It may or might impact, which means it is a risk. Right? So look for these hints in terms of words, and it will tell you what is the difference between risk and issue. Then conflict management. Collaboration is the best, most effective, long-lasting conflict resolution technique. Any conflict, if you see collaboration as an option, chances are that it will be correct. Because when you collaborate, you solve problem. You sit together and you try to solve problem for the project's benefit. All the other resolution techniques are for somebody's benefit. Here and there, compromise is where both the parties lose something. Okay, hence collaboration is the best resolution technique, conflict resolution technique. Before attempting to resolve a conflict between team members, be sure to understand the reason. Do you see the similarity? We talked about problem solving, right? We are talking about conflict. So whether the problem is between people or whether the problem is with process or product, idea is same. You cannot resolve it if you have not understood it well. Okay, so first understand the conflict, understand the reason, evaluate what has happened, why, what has not happened, and then try to resolve it. Okay, always do that. First understand, then you analyze, and then take action. Conflict between team members should be resolved for the benefits of the project. Okay, we are looking for project objectives. How is it going to help my project? That option we will take. So if there is a conflict between A and B, I will choose that option which is most beneficial for my project, not the person whom I like the most. Never. Positive conflicts, which is difference in opinion. Okay, they develop innovation and creativity. Okay, so if I have a difference in opinion, I think A is better, somebody else thinks B is better, then it is a good thing, a positive thing. If I'm not blaming them, if I'm not fighting with them, it's a very good thing, because we are trying to understand from two different perspectives. If I only have one perspective, then I don't know whether this is good or bad, or is there a better thing to do. But if I have a different perspective, I'll always know if there is a better option or not. Right? So conflicts are positive also, and in general, it is good to have difference in opinion. Okay, so you should promote discussion of difference of opinion. You should create an environment where people want to disagree, and they disagree, they have difference in opinion, and they try to resolve the problem, try to resolve the disagreement. Don't punish anyone for that. Okay, just because the question says there's a disagreement, there's a difference in opinion, does not mean that you have to take any action into that. Okay, it could be beneficial for the project. In case of conflict within or beyond the teams, the conflict is resolved first within the conflicting members. Same thing, right? Two parties are conflicting, third party intervention will only be there if they have tried and resolved through collaboration, but could not solve it, hence somebody else will get intervened. Okay, which means two team members having conflict, if the question says that they have had discussions and now they have come to you, then you will have to take decision. But if the question does not say that they have done and only saying that the team members are having conflict, then that option will be correct, which says that help them, facilitate them, bring them for a meeting, have them face-to-face discussion to understand and solve the conflict. Okay, so even the project manager's involvement during the conflict will only happen if these two members have collaborated and still not able to solve. Otherwise, the project manager will not take decision, they will help them collaborate so that A and B can discuss among them and decide which is the best option. Now, project manager's mindset. Okay, project manager's main responsibility is to integrate things. As we discussed, somebody would be doing scope plan, somebody would be doing cost plan, someone would be doing quality, okay, separately. Your job is to integrate all of this and make a piece which is a successful project. So you have to balance all those things out. You have to bring these different pieces of puzzle together so that what is the relation between scope and cost and quality is also understood, well understood, and then taken care of in the project. Okay, so whenever you are planning for your time involvement, always spread your time and effort across several aspects of the project management. Don't only always look at cost and time. This is the most demanding thing, okay, by the project sponsors, management, and we get involved in this a lot more. Okay, we think that the cost is most important, time is most important. Okay, in the question also, if you see cost, you might be inclined to save cost, but that's not the only constraint we have, right? We have other constraints also, resource, risks, quality, right? So don't get fixated to try to save and cost and time only. If there are other constraints, try to spend your time on that also. Okay, because those could also be an important thing. Every decision that you will make will be towards best interest of the project, not the best interest of project manager, but the best interest of project. Project manager has the knowledge of everything that is happening in the project. Okay, so through documents, through discussions, through meetings, whatever you do, you have to create a process, a structure where you know everything that is happening in the project. You might not know how to do it, you might not know the technical aspects of it, but you should know what is happening in the project, where the problem are happening, where things are going smooth. You should have complete idea of it. You cannot say any day in the project that I don't know this, or let me discuss with the team and then I'll come back. Okay, that would be a wrong thing to do. You should be proactive in understanding whatever is happening in the project. Because anything going wrong is your responsibility. Okay, we have discussed this enough. Right? Project manager is responsible for anything going wrong. Customer not giving you requirements, supplier not delivering material, procurement team not working, quality team not checking, your team not working. Okay, it is your responsibility to ensure that they work. Not your responsibility to do their work, but it is your responsibility to ensure that they are supporting in your project. Okay, very, very important. And whenever you are trying to find a solution, a better option is to prevent the problem from happening itself. Okay, if you are not able to prevent, you should have some measures which will help you detect the problem as early as possible. There should be some triggers, and then resolve it as quickly as possible. Prevent the problem, detect early, resolve quickly. Okay, that should be your approach towards solving problem. Involve the team members to take decisions. Okay, we have seen it enough number of times, 2-3 times also we will see, because these are very, very important points. Through every angle, you will see that we are involving team members. Problem solving, planning, discussions, anything, you have to involve team members. You cannot leave them alone. They are the experts. They will help you with the best solution. Project manager gets involved right from the initiation stage. From the beginning itself, gets involved, knows everything, knows why the project was selected, and discusses this why with the team member regularly throughout the project. Helping the team members understand why whatever they are doing, how it is related to the project's objective. Then very, very important, you have to create an environment of trust, openness, and respect. What does this mean? This means that any option, any question that talks about team members sharing the problem, talking about their mistakes, talking about their incomplete work, you should promote all those things. Okay, so as a project manager, your responsibility is to promote dialogue between the team members, between team members and you, so that they can share whatever the problems are. Only when they discuss, only when they share, will you be able to unearth all those problems which are not readily visible. Okay, so you must figure out ways, you see the actions, you see what is there in the option, it is helping you create a better environment in the project, by all means do it. Then project team is self-organizing, but that does not mean you leave them alone. This will definitely be tested. Okay, anti-pattern of self-organizing. Whether you understand what exactly anti-pattern self-organizing means or not will be tested. Okay, many options will say that tell them to do it, ask them to do it, let them do it. Okay, or keep them free because it is agile and they would decide what is to be done. No. Okay, you should get involved. You should help them do it. They are self-organized, they will do it. But what if they don't know how to do it? Right? So you have to get involved. You will be there supporting them, sideline, staying there. You are not doing anything, but you are supporting them, helping them, proactively checking whether they will be able, they might make a mistake or not. Right? So that is the idea of self-organizing. And believe that they are motivated if it is not mentioned in the question otherwise. Okay, so team will always, they are all motivated, they will do the work if the question does not say otherwise. Keep them empowered. Okay, and the team will always first work on the problems themselves. If they are not able to resolve, then they will come to project manager, and they will always come with suggestions and alternatives, just like a project manager. We also first try to solve ourselves. We figure out the solutions and we see that, okay, A, B, and C are the options available. A will impact the cost, B will impact the schedule, C will impact the quality. But these are the three options available with us. And with these three options, we go to change control board or any approving authority. Okay, saying that this is the problem, this is my solution, please approve because this has gone beyond my authority. I don't know which of these, I have all these three options and these are the impacts. Please help me take decision. Then change control board will take that decision. Similar is with team. Team will first solve the problem themselves. If they're not able to solve, then project manager will be involved. Team would also come with some suggestions and solutions. Right? Very important, team does the work in the project. Estimation, planning, risk identification, analysis, discussing with stakeholders, understanding, sending communication, sending information, creating reports, everything is done by the team. Project manager leads them, helps them, and integrates their work, checks their work, whether they are doing all these things properly or not, and proactively identifies if they might make a mistake, if they have the skill sets or not. Right? So very clear distinction. Consists of members of complementary skills. So you will have team members who are experts, I type of member, and you will have people who are experts and knowledge of other subjects also. T type, experts and all-rounders. It should be a mix of both. You, as a project manager, should plan the rewards and recognition for the team and share it with them. Let them know what will they do which will provide them rewards and recognition, and ensure that they understand it. Okay, then only they will be motivated. If you just announce the rewards and recognition and the team doesn't understand how they will be winning those awards and recognition, they will not work for it because they don't know. So you will have to first plan, you will have to also share with them, and also ensure that they understand it, which means talk to them, get a feedback whether they understood it or not. While discussing with them, tell them that if you do this, this will bring some reward to you. Okay, then only they will be motivated. So just planning will not help. Share and ensure that they understand the plan also. When we talk about stakeholder engagement, keep identifying the stakeholders throughout the project. Okay, identification of stakeholder, analysis of stakeholder is not one-time job. You will have to do it throughout the project, especially, and this is your question, exam question, especially when there is a change in organization, change in suppliers, change in customer, partners, suppliers getting added or removed. Right? Anything of these things happening, your stakeholder register will change because your stakeholders are changing. And when your stakeholder register gets updated, your communication plan should also get updated accordingly. Okay, so if a supplier is no more a supplier, why would I send a communication to them? If a supplier has got added, why will I not send a communication to them? Right? So I will have to update my stakeholder register, update my communication plan as my stakeholders are getting identified throughout the project.
Amit, one question on stakeholders.
Yeah.
So this stakeholder engagement assessment matrix, is this part of the overall stakeholder engagement plan or part of stakeholder register? Means not to go into tools and techniques, but I'm trying to understand that stakeholder register just has the names or the result of this analysis also.
You can add that into a column, okay, or you can create a separate assessment matrix. The activity happens separately. Okay. Assessment matrix is evaluation of your implementation of the stakeholder engagement plan, which means you created a stakeholder engagement plan, right? Then you will implement it. Now, whether that implementation was successful or not, for that you are creating this assessment matrix. Okay, so either you can create it as separate testing. See, you will be checking it, right? And then you can create a report, or already you have some columns, add these columns also, saying whether they are supportive or assistive. You can add those things here, which would show the current status.
Current status, okay. And what about the power influence grid? That is like initial assessment, initial evaluation. Your
Part of your
understanding.
stakeholder register, yes.
That's part of stakeholder register, okay.
Absolutely. See, just creating register will not help, right?
Yeah, just the names
just
will not
having
help.
name of stakeholders will not be of any use. So whatever analysis I do, I will add those things. Just like risk, okay? Risk register is created to identify the risks, and then whatever the responses are there, risk owner, everything. You just keep on adding columns and keep on adding that.
And identify stakeholder as part of initiation, like very beginning, even before planning. So even before planning, you identify stakeholders and then determine their power influence as well. Okay.
Yes. You understand the requirements and you figure out some things. Okay. So at the initiation stage itself, you also create the stakeholder register.
Which involves names as well as their power influence.
As your analysis, yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Now, the stakeholders who want a change must submit a change request. Very simple. Okay. If they are looking for a change, they should provide a change request based on which we will start working. Understand the change, evaluate the change, take informed decision. Right? Problem solving, making changes, anything. First, understand what it is, then evaluate the impacts, because it will help you take decision. Understand the communication requirements before sending them the information. So there will be many questions in the exam where the stakeholders will be complaining that I have not understood the information said to me, or I did not receive the information. Okay, so you have to understand first, and while you are analyzing the stakeholders, you also analyze for their communication requirement. Do they prefer WhatsApp over mail? Do they prefer face-to-face discussion? Do they prefer email? What is it? Right? So you have to understand which communication tool, which method, which technology required to be used, and how frequently do they need the information, and then start sending the information. Okay, so any question that says that stakeholders are not happy with any information being shared to them, come back to check whether you would understand the requirement and planned accordingly or not. Then let us discuss some of the agile mindset, and which is very important. for answering agile questions. Okay, be a servant leader throughout the project. In fact, we are talking in agile, but it pays to be a servant leader even in traditional approach. Okay, because you will not be able to identify the difference in many of the question, whether it is an agile question or traditional question, because the question will be on people domain. Okay, process domain, you will be easily able to understand agile versus traditional, but for people domain, it is very difficult to understand the difference between agile and traditional if they have not mentioned it. Okay, so for people domain questions, okay, you don't actually have to identify people domain also, but whenever you are leading with the leading with people, when you are dealing with people, always be a servant leader. Okay, throughout the exam for this case. Okay, what does this mean? Help the team solve the problems. Okay, don't let them solve the problem, don't have them solve the problem, don't make them solve the problem, help them. Okay, get involved, don't leave them alone. They're your team members, keep them close. Prevent them from any interruptions. Okay, anybody, managing director, HR, whoever is disturbing them, prevent the team from any interruptions, let them do their work. Keep talking to them about how their work is aligned to project objectives. Because as a servant leader, you will always align them to project objectives, vision of the product every time, especially when a new team member joins. Because there will be a question where they say that a new team member has joined, what would be the first thing you do? Okay, discuss with them, talk to them about project objective so that they understand first what the project is. Then only other things would come. Proactively look for what your team might need: training, skills, infrastructure, whatever they might need. Look proactively for that and then provide them. Take emotionally intelligent decisions, which means any option that says that there is a conflict, don't take sides, don't get involved in the conflict, don't get angry. Okay, you have to be emotionally intelligent, you have to be you have to control yourself, right? Don't get involved. Any option that says there's a fight, you are right, the team is right, there could be, they will check on this, right? So if that they are doing it, take always the emotionally intelligent decision. Don't get involved in something which is not emotionally right. Never angry, never sad, never very happy, never excited. We are someone who don't have emotions. Okay, we are calm, cool, calm, composed. We neither get very excited, we neither get very sad. At least we don't show it to the team. Engage stakeholders, right? Seek their advice, suggestions, involve them in planning, involve them in problem solving, show them the product once it is done, while it is done. Okay, show them the progress report, ask for guidance, involve them as much as possible. Engage stakeholders. Okay, any option that is talking about engaging stakeholders is generally a better option. Product owners might need your support in prioritizing the backlog. Understand this. You are not prioritizing the backlog. You are supporting the product owner. So any option that says support the product owner would be correct. Any option that says change the product backlog or do it yourself would not be right. And don't shy away from educating the stakeholder, sponsor, or anyone, even if they are top management. It could be the prime minister, president of the country. Okay, don't shy away from educating them on agile, because there is a chance that they might not know. Okay, because they have been doing predictive project, they have not been part of agile, so there's a chance that they might not know. Feel free to educate them, involve them, discuss with them, collaborate with them, train them, educate them. All these words are generally correct answers, because you are helping them understand what happens in agile. Then agile mindset again. All three agile rules are distinct. Product owner provides the requirement, team works on the requirement, facilitator, project manager, agile lead, whoever it is. You will see project lead also as a part in exam. They all ensure that everything runs smooth. So product owner will provide the requirement, team will work on the requirement, give the product to the product owner. Facilitator will help this process run smooth. That's it. Product owner owns the backlog. He or she will prioritize, nobody else will do it. Nobody else. Project sponsor will not, project team will not, project manager will not. Only the product owner can prioritize. Now, if there is a question that product owner is absent or has left the company, then things are different. But otherwise, generally, this is the idea. Do not ever prioritize the feature yourself. This is the job of the product owner. Agile, use co-location if possible. Okay, face communication if possible. Whenever possible, try to discuss face to face. Try to have meetings. Try to collaborate. It is always better rather than trying to figure out which process would help the best. Face to face with a whiteboard and markers is the richest form of communication. An option might say face to face. An option would say in a meeting room with whiteboard and marker. See, with whiteboard and marker, what would happen is people are involved in discussion. They are writing something, they are moving here and there. So that is always better as a richest form of communication because they understand better. Just by using words, they understand very, very well. Right? But if they can draw something, write something, it is also better. It is even much, much better. Right? So any option that says whiteboard with a marker and then discussing face to face, the best of lot. There's nothing better than this. Okay, provide agile team with a lot of wall space. Okay, any question which we'll discuss about providing them office space. Okay, they should have large wall space where they can write, discuss, just like this whiteboard. Okay, instead of whiteboard, you can have this big wall where they can write. Okay, and when you are building a office space, this is office. Okay, looking from the top, this is office floor. Give them some area of collaboration, round table, and give some cubicles also where they can focus and work. Okay, help them collaborate, help them work in tandem with everyone. Thanks, JK, for that message in the chat box. Yes, this will, my suggestion will also be that repeat going through this video, because for the revision, it is very, very helpful. Repeat it maybe once or twice a week in the next 2-3 weeks whenever you take the exam, so that it helps you in solving the question and helps you identify these things while you are attempting the mock exams also. Right? Thanks for that. All right. So now, information, whatever information you want to share as a part of report, show it on the information radiator. Okay, you have already provided them big wall space. Ensure that they're using it for showing the charts, showing the bar charts and all the other things. Right? Very, very important. Burn up, burn down charts, or anything, any information, defect rates, you want to discuss clarifications, you want to discuss anything. Right? You want to put some quote, motivational quote for your team members, do that. Okay, use this wall space very, very well. There will be questions on information radiator in the exam. Information radiator is big visible charts placed on the wall where the team members are working, so that anybody can see this and suggest whatever is to be suggested, so that they don't disturb the team for creating the reports. Team can do their work.
Hi, Amit. One question here. So,
Yes.
what is the best method for virtual team? I mean, what is the best method to share these charts with the virtual team? Is it placing these documents in a shared folders, or
For the virtual team, see, the best thing that would be there is to provide them one more machine. Okay, where this information will always be live with charts and everything. There would be a laptop with them on which they will be working, and there would be a system which will be live showing the information rated. That is the best. Okay, if at all it comes in the question. Otherwise, anything. Okay, what you have to look at is that it should be live and available. It should not be something that is stored on some place from which they have to pull the information. Okay, this information radiator must radiate information, so it should be always live. So any option that suggests a live use of or a live display of this as a dashboard, as a software, anything, it is always preferable, rather than storing it somewhere where they will have to go and access the information. This will be wrong, this will be right.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Thanks.
Is that what you are looking for?
Yes. Because there were like several options, put it in some shared drives or something like that. So
Absolutely. See, anything, and there will be only two difference. One is whether they will have to take some effort to understand, or is it easily readily available. Any option which is readily giving them the information, that would be the best choice for virtual team. Any problem that occurs on a project should be resolved by the project team. We have seen this. Okay, this is probably the fourth or fifth time we are seeing it. Okay, always let the project team choose a solution, and you coach and support them. Okay, never leave them alone. This is probably third reminder. Look for feedbacks from everyone as early as possible. Okay, so whenever you are building a product in Agile, okay, try to reduce your work to as minimum as possible so that you can get feedback quickly. The earlier you get feedback, the quickly you learn, the better the product will be released. Okay, so while working, after completion of work, after integration of that work, after release, you should get feedback at multiple levels. Feedback is a very, very important idea of Agile, as is information editor, as is collaboration. Feedback is equally important. Okay, so if you set 4 or 5 words for Agile, value will come first, then will be collaboration. Okay, feedback, information radiator, which is displaying everything. Right? These things are very, very common. Any approach, any framework, any structure that you make, which increases the value, which talks about collaboration, improving the collaboration, discussion, face-to-face discussions, right? Anything that helps you get feedback, anything, whether it is pair programming, sitting together, showing the project, meeting the customer daily, meeting the business people daily. If it is helping you in feedback, take it. The reason is, Agile, you are doing a lot of uncertain things. You are not sure about the process, you are not sure about technology, you are not sure about the scope, the requirements, and it is expected to change. The more you talk, the more you get feedback, the more you show things, the better are the chances that you will deliver value. Okay, so anything that talks about bringing people together and understanding in Agile, it is always better. Okay, think about this example. If you are going from a place A to place B, and which is full of mountains and forests, you don't know the route, and there is a lot of threats of wild animals and other things, but you have to go. There's a lot of uncertainty in the process. Okay, will you go alone, or will you take help of local team member, local people who are there in the forests? Will you take help? Will you like that help or not? It is always better. Rather than trying to figure out what could be the best route, other things, just keep going. Whoever you meet, discuss with them, and they will guide you. Okay, so people discussion with people always helps whenever things are uncertain. You go in as a friends. Okay, you will always say that, okay, let's walk together. If you have been a part of night trekking or forest trekking, they all say that always stay together. There will be one person from the guide ahead, one person from the guide behind, so that you don't get misplaced. Why? Because things are so uncertain that any help that you can get is a good help. This is the idea of Agile also. Any help that you can get in collaboration, any help that you can get in feedback, whether I'm moving in the right direction or not, it will always be helpful. Okay, and that's what they will check. And for that, you will have to show whatever you are doing. You will have to be very open about the fear that you have. Okay, only then they will help. Otherwise, they will not be able to help. Right? So involve people whenever you can in Agile. It is always helpful. Now, when you close the project, okay, when closing the project, ensure that the contracts are closed and resources are released. These projects are terminated early for any reason. Sorry, those projects which are terminated for any reason still needs to be closed formally. Okay, which means that if you are prematurely terminating any project, don't just stop coming to the site. Don't just stop working from tomorrow. Okay, still close it formally, which means if you are working on activities A, B, C, D, complete those activities. For example, if you are working on a 10-floor building, if you are working on first floor, okay, and laying down the concrete, complete that floor and then come out. Even if the customer does not have money, even if the customer does not have anything, if you are terminating it early, premature closure, always complete the activity and then close, which means formally close it, submit them the report that yes, these are the activities that we have completed, this is what we have done till now, and then come out of it. Okay, that is the idea of premature closure. Update the lessons learned register throughout the project. At the end, you are only consolidating it. Remember this. Lessons learned are only consolidated, indexed. Okay, these are the terms that you will see. This is what you do at the end. Creation was already happening earlier. Why? Because see, if you are learning a lesson in January and you complete the project in December and then you sit to see what lessons you have learned, out of 10, you will remember only 1 or 2. Every month, whatever, every week, whatever your lessons learned, you keep on updating your lessons learned register. It will be a comprehensive document that will be useful in future. Premature closure is a big decision. Hence, the justification for that, the reason for that, the information for that must also be huge. It should not be that I am facing a problem, that's why we should close the project. I see a big risk and that's why I should close the project. My key team member has left the organization and that's why I should close them. Never do that. Okay, you will terminate the project for illegal, unethical, or customer has no money. These are your examples. Similar examples, big examples, would result in premature closure. Otherwise, it will not. Okay. Yes, Richa, your question on premature. You said the code.
Yeah,
This is.
I was just going to raise the hand, Amit. Yeah. So the two options very close. I understand that if there is a legal notice, you have to terminate, but seek approval for terminating or terminate the project. So in two scenarios, the explanation was project manager does not have authority to terminate. That is why you seek approval to terminate the project. So yeah, these two options, seek approval
Yes.
to
So
for
I
termination.
also wanted to discuss with others. See, what we are discussing here, Richa and I, everyone, is that there is a court's order to close the project, okay, which is a cease and desist order. Cease means stop, desist means don't start again. Okay, and there are two options. One is seek approval for termination, and other is terminate the project for legal reasons. Okay, what would you select? Anyone?
I think the first one, because if project manager cannot start the project, he cannot end it.
Same here.
Okay. Okay. So you are saying that because we have not initiated the project alone, we cannot also close the project alone. And hence, if it is talking about seeking approval, then we should look for seeking approval for termination. And this was the answer also, right, Richa? Explanation?
Yes, Amit, this was the explanation that project manager does not have the authority to terminate.
Okay. Okay. Looks logical. Let me check also whether it is organization specific or whether it is true that, I mean, they cannot terminate directly. Which looks very logical because
but Amit, one thought process you have always taught us that if there is a very specific action, then what if that action does not happen? What if I do not get approval? Or so will I, if even if there is a court order, then will I continue doing the project, if I've not received
right.
approval?
That is the reason why we are confused here also.
Yes.
Because see, if there's an order from court, okay, court is above any of these approval, right? So which, if the court has given this order already, then what kind of approval am I looking for?
Correct.
Okay, there's nothing. Maybe I just need to inform them, okay, to tell them that this is to be closed. But if it is at the organization level and then I'm closing it, so it is a little bit dicey. Okay, so let me check for this, because these two options present in the question would
Yes.
create some problem. If it is not,
Exactly.
then
If the
both
option
the
is
options are correct.
not present, then if only one option is there, terminate, then go ahead and terminate.
Go ahead and terminate, yes, because it is a court's order.
Can it be something like you stop the work, but formal termination happens only after approval?
Yeah, that could also be possible, that we stop the work, okay, but we cannot terminate or we cannot close the project unless and until we get an approval. So because they said cease and desist, so we stopped the work, we didn't do anything, but we formally did not close it, which means we did not submit our report to the customer or anything of that sort. We did not do that. We just stopped the work and then we looked for approval and then we terminated. Let me check. We'll get to this.
Sure.
Okay. Then there is one more thing that you will see in the exam, which is the flow of activities in closure of the project. Okay, I tried looking for it. I could not find any guideline which says yes, definitely you have to follow process A to B, B to C, something. Okay, because there are multiple specific reasons because of which you will do something first, you will do something later. Okay, so take this as a guideline. Okay, of what should happen. They will discuss. There will be questions in the exam which will talk about closing the project, but they might not ask you the exact order in which it should happen.
Yeah, same was with me, Amit. Yeah, this is where I get it mostly wrong. It's mostly scenario based. We don't
Yes,
have any hard and fast rule for this. Yeah,
correct.
and
So
always
let
there
us.
is a one or two questions from this. Yeah.
Yeah. Closing the project, there will be question. There has to be a question, and I have seen the feedback also from the participants who have taken the exam. I asked them. They said yes, there are questions on closing, but not directly asking the exact flow, because there is no exact flow. Okay, so let us understand the guideline. Okay, and based on that we will try to answer, and then when we see specific question, then we'll try to see why anything would happen first or anything would happen later. Okay, so let us try to understand the guideline first. Okay, what you should do during closing the project is you should ensure that the operations and downstream operations means when you build the product, somebody will start maintaining that product, right? So they are your operations team. Downstream means it could be that you are giving your product to some other project team who will start working on that, or you are giving to somebody else. So whoever comes next to you is your downstream. Okay, those who are dependent on you, ensure that they are ready for takeover. Okay, as we have seen, entire ecosystem of the project, starting from customer to the supplier, including us. Okay, whoever is there in this entire ecosystem, my responsibility as a project manager to ensure that I'm taking care of all of them. Okay, so first ensure that they are ready for takeover. Then check that the project has satisfied all the goals and objectives. You also ensure that. Check every report is there, everything is there, all the kind of understanding with regard to these strategic goals is there, available with us. Ensure that whole scope of the work has been completed. Okay, make sure to receive formal documented acceptance from the client and sponsor. Okay, that yes, I have delivered everything that was required. Now we should close. Review all the contracts with the project team and suppliers. Okay, whatever, and this is not at the end, this is at the closer. Okay, so if you're closing the procurement, then just review all the contracts and see that whatever terms and conditions were there, everything has been met. Project team and suppliers, everybody is there. We have understood that yes, we are now closing the procurement. Review project management practices and ensure that information is archived, which means any policy, any process that you have to update, like OPAs, check for your practices, understand, review whatever you have done, review whatever you have learned with respect to changes in policies, update that. Document the lessons learned for future reference. Okay, ensure that whatever lessons you have learned, you have documented it. Now, this is also a word that is very confusing. Okay, sometimes they say document means create it. Sometimes they say document means index it. But from my understanding, documenting means indexing it. Okay, consolidating it, everything. Documenting lessons learned does not mean creating them. Okay, there are lessons learned created in this different pages. You're just bringing them all together, putting up it in one file. That is the idea of closing. And then disband the project team, release your resources, okay, return other resources, equipments, and whatever you have taken to their functional location. Okay, now I'll tell you the problem that happens in exam. Okay, sometimes in mock exams, I'm not sure about the actual exam. Okay, documenting lessons learned. Should you do this first, or should you disband the prayer team officially and return the resources? Okay, which should be done first? The idea is that if you need team members to document the lessons learned, which means to consolidate the lessons learned, then you'll keep 1 or 2 members, right, to do this work. And once that is done, then you will release them. Before that, you would have maybe started releasing the resources. And this is the main confusion that happens in the exam questions. Okay, if they are giving both the two options, then it will be confusing. Okay, but I think exam will not confuse you on that part, because there's no logical explanation to this as a general flow. These are all specific, right? If in my project, if I don't have a lot of lessons learned, it is a small project, I'll do it myself. I will release all my resources before I am consolidating the lessons learned and reviewing the practices. Or if I have a lot of lessons that I have learned, I have lots of practices that I have to do, I would need some resources also. So I will release the final resource after I have done all this work. Okay, so look for something specific. There will be definitely in the question, okay, which will tell you whether you should document the lessons learned first or release the resources first. But these are the things that we generally do in closure. Okay, there has to be something that would make the option wrong, not just the comparison of sequence. Okay, is it clear what I'm trying to discuss here? So that was it.
Yes,
That was the part of PMP exam mindset. Okay, I'll be sharing this PDF. I'll be uploading the video on Google Drive. So my suggestion: go through the video 2-3 times. Okay, if you have found this helpful, so please go.
Yeah, I think Amit, this was pretty much helpful, and this is mostly the confusing part. Yeah,
Yes.
the session which you have taken today.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
one question, Amit, if we
Yes.
have time.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there was one question in one of the mock that I had taken. I mean, there was a situation where, the deliverables was already provided to the, say the operation team, and the project manager was about to release the team members. Then the operation team members came and said that there's some issues. So again, there were like several options. So I mean, what should the project manager do then? Is it not part of the project?
If it is happening after closure, okay, and
was
then
it said it was, I mean, project manager was about to release the team member. It did not specifically say
okay,
that the
about to
project was
release,
closed. Yeah.
which means it is closed, right? Which means we are at the closure stage.
Mhm.
Okay, and okay, so it will be specific to the question, but I'll give you a general understanding of this. If you are about to release the resource, which means you are at the closure stage, okay, and at that point of time, your operation is telling you that we are facing a problem, okay, with some integration or other things, then we have already taken the acceptance before.
Yeah.
Right, which means I'm about to close this. Operation should resolve the problem. Okay, but if the question is talking about the mindset, okay, which is talking about what should you have done before, then it was your responsibility to ensure that this problem does not happen. Okay, so that is the idea. Who would have prevented the problem? The project manager, right? But who would now resolve it, which means corrective action? Operation team. Okay, so if the question is asking you what could you have done better, what should have been done, then it is your responsibility. You should have taken some action to ensure that this problem does not happen. But now that it has happened and you are almost at the closure, let it be resolved by the operation team. Okay, this is the general idea.
Okay, Amit, thank you.
Okay. If you have that question, if you see that question again, just send me a screenshot. We can actually discuss the specifics of it also.
Sure. I'll definitely look into it. Thanks.
Okay, one more point. If there is a risk of life, then stop the progress until it get resolved. Yes. Okay. Yes. I mean, risk of life, absolutely. You will have to stop. There is no other.
There was a question on safety guidelines not being practiced. So you stop the project before that safety concern is resolved.
Correct. You will have
So
to
Amit,
stop.
I have pasted one question. This is on information radiator. All options are very close. This is for monitoring, live monitoring of status in an agile team, which is virtual. So if you can help, if we have time, if we
Yeah,
can take
sure.
a look at the question.
An agile team is supported by a vendor's team in completing the work of a project. The project manager wants to offer constant reporting of project's progress status. Which of the following ways of displaying the information would be most effective? Use fishbowl windows to display both the team's Kanban boards in real time. Okay, so fishbowl windows is like when you are keeping your monitor, your camera on throughout the work. Display both the teams' reports sequentially on monitors placed in both the teams' locations. So what would happen? Now my report will be shared and then somebody else's report will be shared. Okay, so that is your B. C is set up a common platform where updates can be made all the time and dashboard can be generated as and when required. So now if it is as and when required, then it automatically becomes not a good thing, because this is a common platform, okay, where the updates can be made whenever it is required. So does not make a good sense. Combine both the teams update and on a single feature burn-up chart. Okay, now see, what happens here is that when you want to report the project's progress, okay, and you are being supported by both the vendor and your team, okay, and you are trying to report the project's progress, not the team's progress, then what you should do is you should combine this, okay, and show it as one. Similar options would be there as Scrum of Scrum, combining the team together, or as a project manager, add all these teams members' progress together and then show it. Because the point here, the key point here is that you want to offer constant reporting of project's progress status. Okay, not one of these teams. And that's why you are combining.
Very interesting. So had it been a single team, then using fishbowl window or placing monitor on
helped,
one
yes.
team's virtual members. Oh,
Yes.
got it. Makes total sense. Very important to me. Thank you.
Also, if there is something which is sensitive to health, then train the team first. If there is something sensitive to health, yeah. So okay, so you are adding to the mindset point, which is a great points. Jitendra, thanks a lot for that. Okay, I'll add it to the PPT and then share, which is a great point that Jitendra is saying, that if there is something which is sensitive to health, okay, or you have a health risk, death risk, like life risk, people risk, then it becomes topmost priority. Okay, so you will have to ensure that the team understands it well, and then only they start working on it. Okay, they need to know where they are getting. If they are entering into a chemical field, entering into an area where nuclear reactors might be working, okay, so they should know. They have to be trained. Otherwise, they might enter into something where their health might get impacted. Okay, so for all those things, if there is an option that says train the team, inform the team, educate the team before entering those fields, it is always better.
Amit, one question.
Yeah.
So if there is a very long project, 2 years, 3-year project, then what is a budgeting cycle? Like how do you, for a normal project, I understand you build a budget and then you do variance analysis and everything. But for a long project, what is this budgeting cycle?
For any project, okay, you will create the budget, okay? You will create the plan. The money that will be available to you will be at different point of time.
Oh, funding will be at different.
Funding will be always at different point of time. The money that you will receive from customer also will be at different point of time. Okay, it will not be that you will complete the project and only then you will get money. What happens is you will always have a payment term. You will get 15-20% in advance to start the work. Okay, once you complete the design, solution and everything, then 10 more percent. After execution, 20-30%. So there will always be some payment term which will pay you that money. Okay, and based on that, your sponsor will arrange the money accordingly.
Okay. There was one question again. This is JJ's question. You might choose to address it separately, or I've pasted it if we have time.
I'll be sending this. I'll be sending the answers to these.
Yeah.
Give me 1 or 2 days. I'll share.
Sure. Sure, because I was just not clear how to address this budgeting question.
Okay. All right then, everyone, thanks a lot for your time over the last 2 weeks that we have discussed. Okay, so we have covered almost every part that I could think of that will be there in the exam. If you see anything new, please reach out to me. Feel free to reach out. Feel free to set up a call. I will be setting up the call, Zoom call, everything for discussion. Okay, as till the time you take the exam. Okay, so feel free for that. Now we will not be meeting for regular discussions like the revision discussions. We'll start solving questions. Okay, so I'll be sending you more questions. I'll be sending you mock exams. All right. So let us prepare for that. Okay, and occasionally we will meet for discussion on questions. We might not meet this week, okay, because of some other commitments that I have, but I am available during the daytime if you are available. India time 9 to 6, any time. I'm available at that point of time to discuss Zoom call, one-to-one discussions. Other than that, I'll be sending you questions and we will have sessions on these questions discussions. So the most difficult question that I see on the group, when you mention that these are the questions difficult, I'll pick those questions up and I'll discuss in a group. Okay. Otherwise, if you want to discuss any specific questions, please feel free to send a screenshot or connect with me. And if you want to discuss 5-10 questions at once, we can discuss that. Okay.
So,
but what I will do from my side is that I will pick up all those questions which I see in the group, people are discussing and not able to resolve. I will pick those up and we will create a session around that. Yes, Richa.
So, Amit, one particular category of questions I've been consistently getting wrong is identifying the type of response both for threat and opportunity. Typically between avoid and mitigate, and especially even for opportunities between escalate, exploit, and enhance. So if you have questions, more practice questions on that, because that's an area I'm getting wrong. Yeah.
Okay. I'll send those questions to you.
Thank you.
Okay. So the final words, after all the advice, all the suggestions, tips and tricks that I have given, these are my final words. Okay. Don't use any of these above discussion as a rule. Okay. Please don't use those as a rule. Those are just an understanding. Okay. Questions will be specific. Okay. PM BOK, PMI Institute, those who take the exam, they also don't suggest anything. They also don't prescribe anything. They also say these are general good practices, not even the best practices. Okay, these are general good practices that we should follow. Okay, so the suggestion that I have also shown does not make it a rule. Okay, but very, very useful for the exam questions. But be careful, always compare the choices, always compare the options before selecting the best one. Don't see, because what would happen is if you just see a word collaborate, and if you check at the correct answer, that might be wrong. Okay. But if you're collaborating to solve the problem, if you're collaborating to plan, it is always a better choice. Okay. So use it, I would say, at your discretion. Okay. But these are good guidelines. It will help you in the exam, but not as a rule that every time I see this, it will be correct. No, because we don't know, right? We are talking only about one option. There are 3 other options. Anything could be better than this. Right, so that was my final word. Okay, all the best for your preparations. Let's keep meeting for questions, answers and discussions. Okay, as and when the time arises, I'll keep on informing on the group. I will not disband the group. Let us continue. Okay, and whatever is your suggestion, whatever you want to discuss, just like Richa said, more questions on risk responses, anything that you feel is troubling you, please let me know. We will create a session around that and we'll discuss.
Amit, if it is possible, could you please give us that match the following questions more, so that we will get comfortable in that.
Sorry, which one?
Match the following type of questions.
Drag and drop. Yes. I'll do that. I'll do that.
Thanks.
Sure. Okay. Thank you everyone. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amit.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. All the best.
Bye.
And thanks, Amit.
All the best. Yes.
All the best. Bye.
Thank you, Amit sir.
Welcome everyone.